So there are a few sneaky lies that we tell ourselves about cooking that keep us stuck when we're not enjoying the food that we really want to be. So listen on to find out what to do instead. Okay, so welcome to Joyful Eating, episode 151. So today we're going to be talking about the 5 lies we tell ourselves about cooking. But first, the best bite I had. So, um, yeah, it was actually yesterday for lunch. So this is such a great example of my favorite type of meals. I was just pulling together a few different, had some leftover shaved cabbage salad and then another leftover zucchini salad. So I put them in a bowl. And then I had some leftover poached eggs and some sardines that I cooked in the air fryer, which were amazing. And I had tossed that together. And then I drizzled it, just to bring it together, I drizzled over some crispy chili oil, which is this Chinese ingredient. It's got actually bits of chunky chili in it. It's a little bit hot. And then I tasted that and it was just a little lacking something. So I sprinkled sesame seeds over and it was so delicious. I was like, I don't want this bowl to end. And it was just random things that I put thrown together in my fridge. Okay, so plan for today is first I'm going to share the 5 lies of that we tell ourselves about cooking that are probably keeping you stuck. And then as we go through each one, I'm going to give you some concrete examples of what you can do instead so that you get unstuck and you get to this place where you're eating well automatically. And then I've got 3 stories for you of people who've actually implemented these strategies that I'm going to share with you. And then at the very end, we've got an exclusive invitation. So make sure you stay on for that. Okay, so the 5 lies that we tell ourselves, I'll just go through them uh, and just tune in and see like which of these have you told yourself? 1, cooking's a chore. I'd rather not have to do it. 2, I should be meal planning. 3, I don't have enough time to cook on weeknights. 4, I don't know what goes with what. And then 5, the more effort I put in, the better it's going to be. So let's go break those down in one by one. So this first one, that cooking's a chore, I'd rather not have to do it. And the thing is, just notice how when you tell yourself cooking's a chore, I don't want to do it, I hate it, like all those types of thoughts. If you tell yourself cooking's a chore, cooking feels like cooking is work, of course you don't want to do it. Like when you're thinking that something is a chore or that it's work, like of course when you get home, like the last thing you feel like doing is going into the kitchen and making something. So while, and the thing is that it's actually up to you to choose. You can continue to think that thought, like continue to choose to see cooking as this chore, or you can notice that that actually isn't really helping me and you can choose a different thought instead. So what I really highly recommend doing, because I never think the cooking's a chore. I think when I get to the end of the day, yay, I get to have some me time in the kitchen, yay. And I look forward to that time. The boys, they have screen time at the moment they're playing Minecraft. So they're obsessed with that. And so I get peace and I get to go into the kitchen and create something like delicious that we're going to that's going to nurture it. So like that feels really good to me. So that's actually a choice that I've made to frame cooking in that way. And if you're like, yeah, it's easy for you, Jules, like you're good at cooking, just remember that just because you're not where you want to be doesn't mean that you need to stay there. And I would invite you to, first of all, just let go of that story that cooking's a chore because it's not helping you. And the next thing that I invite you to do is to actually choose a different thought instead. So rather than focusing on how it's a chore and how it's work, actually choosing letting yourself think, I want this. I actually want to be someone who prepares meals for myself and my family and people, or, for myself. And notice how if you're telling yourself, I want this, completely changes the dynamic about how you feel. If you're telling yourself, I want to cook, then you're looking forward, you really radically, like you feel empowered, you feel like inspired, you feel completely the opposite of what you feel when you're telling yourself it's a chore. And all the only thing that's changed there is the thought. Your skill level could be completely the same, but you choosing to think about cooking in a different way is enough to radically change how you feel about it. So amazing bit of coaching just off the bat. So you can just choose, it can be that easy. You can just choose to change your thoughts. And I really offer you this thought, like, I want this. I want to be someone who cooks for myself. Is such a more empowered thought. And then the other thing to, of course, give you evidence and help to make that easier to believe that you want to do this is to make it easy, like is to simplify cooking so it is as easy as possible. Because the thing is that you can spend hours preparing dinner, or you can spend 5 to 10 minutes, which is what I'm doing most of the time. And really the only difference there is just I know how to make it easy. This is my superpower. Like simplifying is really how like, what I'm really good at. So I'm never I'm a food lover. I have really high standards. So I never eat a substandard meal, but I know how to make good meals that are simple. So I'd invite you to learn some new meals that are easy, so that then it's easy for you to tell yourself, I want to do this because, and it stops cooking, stops being a chore. So that's our first one. So it's like a bit of coaching, tick that one off. Next one is like that I think is quite sneaky is that, oh, I should be having a meal plan. I should be this perfect person who sits down and takes half a day to like plan out the meals for the week. And the thing is that, and this is, I hear this again and again, and I know from like when I was learning to cook, and I used to do that. Like I used to go through all there was this magazine, Australian Gourmet Travel, that I still subscribe to and I still love, but I used to like pour through those recipes, and then I'd be like having to pull together my shopping list, and that would take time. And then I'd like go shopping and I wouldn't be able to find all the ingredients on my list, or I'd have to go from store to store. And it did take a lot of time. And I hear that from my clients as well. Like meal planning for the week takes too long because I'm cooking recipes. So of course you don't want to do it if it's going to take up half your Saturday. Like who wants to do that? And I've actually someone in my group said to me, like, I never want a meal plan again. And she's like, all I want to do is just want to go to the farmers market every week and then be on my merry way, you know, go into the kitchen and cook when it's time to cook, but I don't want to be sitting down planning things out. And the cool thing is that this is an option for you as well. So yeah, if you want to plan things out, great. But what I would invite you to do is learn how to cook without recipes. So then, yeah, if there is a recipe that you want to cook one week, great, but you're not relying on that's the only option that you have. So then you have this ability to just do what my client said, like just go to the market, farmer's market, pick up some things that look good, and then you can just make something with those. And I know if you're like not very confident in cooking, or you've been used to cooking with recipes for a really long time, I know that can seem like a big stretch, but part of my job is to help people break free of those recipes. And actually, so what I do is teach you how to cook without recipes. So rather than having like a rigid recipe a complicated recipe that you need to follow, I teach you some like templates or frameworks, and these frameworks you can plug and play. So you go, oh, okay, there was amazing salmon at the market. I've got that. I've got some broccoli. I can do this type of meal with it. Or maybe you've got chicken and carrots, and you can I can do a stir fry. Like, so you have like this is something that you can learn. Just because you can't do it now doesn't mean it's a skill that you can't learn. And the other thing around meal planning is that there's no one right or wrong way to do this. So when you tell yourself, I should be doing something, that again, it feels really heavy. It feels like you don't want to, it's like you're not something that you want to do. So rather than tell yourself, I should meal plan, if you are going to choose to meal plan and do it that way, remind yourself that I want to do this. I want to meal plan, or like, this is a choice. I choose to meal plan. Maybe it might be better rather than I should be meal planning, and seeing it as that, and just that little frame of your mindset around how you're seeing that that task of meal planning changes how you feel. And of course, when you change how you feel, it makes it easier to keep doing it. So there's two ways you can approach the meal planning thing. Just bypass it by learning to cook without recipes, or change your thoughts around meal planning so that you're more on board with doing it. Okay, then we've got lie number 3. So this, I don't have enough time to cook on weeknights. And here's the thing, is that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. I can't remember how many hours in a week. And the thing is that we don't have time, is that we make time, and we make time for things that are important for us. And so it's not a matter of like, you only have this certain amount of time. It's like, it's a matter of choosing how you're going to invest that time. And if you're watching this, it probably means that you care about what you're putting into your body and you care about food. And so if you care about food, surely it's worthwhile prioritizing your time to make cooking a part of that and make nurturing yourself a part of that. And then, of course, the other thing around this is rather than like is to actually learn some super quick meals so that yes, it does because preparing a meal can take 10 minutes and you can also prepare meals that take an hour and a half. And so for those weeknights, you want to have a good repertoire of those 10-minute meals so that you don't have to schedule as much time to do it. So even if you are busy and you are short on time, you're not having to you can actually create something pretty tasty in that 5 to 10 minute range. So we want to have some super quick meals in your repertoire. And actually just think now, like there would be a couple of things that you already know that are quick. So just reminding yourself of those can be really helpful. And of course, adding new ones in is always good. And then also the other thing around the time piece is using the time that you are in the kitchen more effectively. So you can, again, like anything, you can go and you can like faff around and be doing whatever, flitting from this to that, or you can have a plan, can get in with you, not necessarily have a plan, or you can be more strategic with your time so that you're getting things done and getting a meal on the table quicker. And one thing that I teach my students is this idea of investment. And this is something that I use all the time in my life. That's what helps me to be able to have amazing meals and prepare them in definitely less than half an hour. And it's the idea, and what investment cooking is just using when you are already cooking something, just asking yourself, like, does it make sense for me to make more of this? And if it does, yes. Because the thing is, if you're boiling eggs, it doesn't take any extra time. It takes microseconds to put a couple of extra eggs in the pot, and then at the end of it, you can have the eggs in the fridge, and you've got boiled eggs. Or if I was roasting a cauliflower on the weekend, I wasn't going to eat a whole cauliflower in one sitting, although it was super delicious and I probably could. But what I did instead was I roasted the whole cauliflower, and now I've got cauliflower I ate some the Sunday brunch. Then I've got cauliflower in the fridge to use for another meal this week. And all I have to do is pull it out. Actually, some here, so I'm happy to eat it cold. But otherwise, I could just warm it off and it would be good to go. So this idea of investment cooking is really powerful. And it comes down to this asking yourself that thought question: does it make sense for me to make more of this whenever you are cooking anything? Okay, so then line number 3 is I don't know what goes with what. I don't know. And just think when you're telling yourself, I don't know, how does that feel? Feels really disempowering. Hey, it feels really like, oh, I'm such a helpless thing. I don't know. And so what I would really recommend is, first of all, another mindset shift, and just remember that you are the world expert on your taste buds. So even if you haven't ever cooked a day in your life, you've been eating every single day, unless you're doing some sort of crazy fasting regime, for decades. And pretty much no one under 10 is going to be watching this. So yeah, decades. And so what I would invite you to when you're thinking, I don't know what goes with what, just remind yourself, actually, I have been eating for a long time. I know what I like. And just notice then, when you think I know what I like, that's true too. And it feels so much more empowering, doesn't it? It feels like, yeah, I know what I like. And then you can just trust your instincts. So if you think like, yeah, I'm making this salmon, it's going to be amazing if I put a squeeze of lemon on it, you'll do it and it's going to taste great. So like trusting your instincts that if you think something's going to taste good, it will. And then the other thing that can really help with not knowing what goes with what is to actually like just start paying attention and learning like what are the classic flavor combos like, and just when you're out at a restaurant or you're having a lunch at a cafe, oh, what have they done here? And just starting to build your repertoire. And one thing I do is actually like one thing I do with my clients is I give them a list of what are like a cheat sheet of what are the flavor, like most common flavor combos, so that they know that, so that they can hack that and go straight to it. So that is available, but you can start creating your own cheat sheet just by observing. It takes a few seconds to pay attention, but that's how you learn. It's like, oh, when you're eating something that's good, just start noticing, oh, what is it about this that's good? Ooh, fish and lemon, really good together. Or yeah, like could be like hummus and yogurt, like no, hummus and meatballs, really good together. Like whatever it is, just start paying attention. And then the other thing with this is that when things taste bland, if you're trusting yourself, then you like if you're trusting your instincts, then just whatever the thing that pops into your mind, oh, this tastes a bit bland. What can I do? Like that's a thing you can do. Or and the other thing that I teach my students is to actually have a list of kind of go-to ingredients that we call flavor bombs. So they're like one ingredient that can add a lot of flavor. So like my toasted sesame seeds in my example of my delicious meal that I had this my best bite this week. Like that's an example of using a flavor bomb. It's just one ingredient, but it really elevated the whole dish. So getting those in your repertoire is really helpful as well. And then line number 5, the complicated, the better. And this is one you may not have actually said those words to yourself, or just this thought that the more effort I put in, the better the dish is going to be. But this is a lie that is being told to us by celebrity chefs and told to us on all the cooking shows. And I think it's fascinating that cooking shows are still getting more and more popular, whereas the actual people cooking in the kitchen is becoming less and less popular. And the thing is that, yeah, if you're a chef and you've got access to kitchen staff and unlimited ingredients, and you're happy to like your job is to be in the kitchen the whole time, and like of course like go for it, like create complicated things, amazing, like there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that that's not the only way to create food that tastes really good and that is good for you. And so just recognizing this, it's just like it doesn't have to be complicated. I can actually find things that are delicious, that are simple. Like just when you start thinking about that, and you'll start looking, and you'll find simple things that are really good. And if you want like a whole resource to get some ideas around this, I highly recommend you grab my free app. So it's three plus ingredient magic meals. So if you go to my blog, thestonesoup.com, click on the free recipe app page, and I'll give you details on how to download it. And there's hundreds of recipes that have 3 to 6 ingredients that are going. Most of them can be made in like 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes half an hour. Like there are options out there, and you just need to find them. So learning simple options is the antidote to that complicated thoughts. Okay, so now let's recap. So yeah, 5 lies. It's a chore. Instead, we want to think, I want to do this, or I get to do this. Like change that thought around it. I should be meal planning. So the solution there is to learn how to cook without recipes, or to find a meal planning style that does work with you. Give yourself permission to meal plan. Remind yourself that this is something I want to do. The next one was, I don't have enough time to cook. And that is, of course, the solution there is to learn some super quick meals, and to also learn how to do investment cooking so that you're using your time more efficiently. And also that reminding yourself that you make time for the things that are important to you. Like you get to create the time for that. Next one was, I don't know what goes with what. So the solution there is to remember that you are an expert on your taste buds. You can trust your instincts, and also start learning like what are the classic flavor combos, so you're not having to reinvent the wheel. Next one is that complicated equals good, better. And we just want to debunk that myth and just learn some simple, delicious options. Trust me, they are out there. And then I wanted to finish off by sharing some stories. So this one's from Max, and she said, joyful cooking gave me the much needed boost to try new things and liking, and she said in brackets, sometimes even loving cooking for my family. I've improved my seasoning, simplified my meals, and tried new spices / flavor bomb combos. One of the biggest takeaways for the meals I make for myself is that sometimes simpler is better. See? And that a few great ingredients can make a quick and tasty meal. I tend to throw a bit of everything in sometimes, so simplicity is very welcome. And then she said another great confirmation was trusting my instincts more. So many good things came out of this course. I could go on and on. And then I had an anonymous, this is from an anonymous person. So this person was actually, she was actually going through a divorce just as we were starting the Joyful Cooking class, and she said, life changing. She said, honestly, I'm so grateful that I found it, especially when I did because of the chaos that was going on in my life. Being able to feed myself with delicious, healthy, simple meals has made things that much easier. Instead of eating being a burden and adding to the stress like it otherwise would have been. And the other complication with that was she was going through a divorce, and her husband had been the cook in the house. Like he was the one who prepared all the meals. So she was first of all navigating that difficult time, but also she'd lost, like she didn't have this skill. And so it was like Joyful Cooking came in the perfect time for her so that it wasn't something that was a burden. Yeah, so I loved that. And then our final story was from Lisa, and she said, Joyful Cooking was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I found it so helpful and am now a confident cook. The idea of recipe templates makes so much sense. So they mentioned that those frameworks that teaches how to cook without recipes. She's found that really helpful. And then she said, now I find great satisfaction in trying to plan a meal around the food I have available. It's so fun. So if you want to be like Max and my mystery person and Lisa, then I invite you to join my exclusive invitation for you. Join my upcoming challenge. So applications are going to be open in the end of January. So it's a 21-day cooking challenge. And so I invite you to, and really what it is going to do, it's going to give you in those 21 days, you're going to get the confidence to be able to look in the fridge and quickly whip up something fresh and satisfying. And so what it's going to involve cook-alongs where we actually get together on Zoom and like I cook with you. So you're in your kitchen, I'm in my kitchen, and we get to cook together. It's going to be limited to 50 people because I want to keep it small and I want to make sure that everyone's getting my attention and the support that they need to make this change for good. And so it's for if you're a beginner cook like my divorcee was, like it'll be great for you. But it's also if you're a recipe cook and you want to learn how to cook without recipes, it'll help you as well. Or if you're like one of those confident cooks who tends to overcomplicate things, or you're a confident cook and you just lost a bit of the joy and you want to bring that joy back, this is going to help. Or you're just going through a busy time and you want to learn how to simplify, this is going to help you as well. So get on the wait list because you want to be getting your application in as soon as they open because 50 people is going to sell out quickly. So for more details, just go to my blog, which is thestonesoup.com, or if you Google Stone Soup, you'll find it, and then click on the challenge page and you'll be able to join the waitlist there. And while you're there, you can download after you've signed up for the waitlist, then go and get my free app as well. Okay, have a fantastic week. Remembering, like, busting those myths, changing your thinking about cooking, and I will catch you next week.